Guinea-Conakry's justice minister expressed shock at the death of a young woman, allegedly a victim of rape. 25-year-old secretarial graduate Mama Sila was allegedly raped by doctors at a private clinic in Conakry. The justice minister came to pay her respects to the family. We have come to express our sympathy to the bereaved family. We are all shocked by what she has suffered. We have all been traumatized by the facts. We know and we do not forget that at the core, it was the irresponsibility and carelessness of certain people, supposedly doctors, that led us to this regrettable situation. The authorities have indicted and arrested 3 people in connection with this case. The victim died on November 20th in Tunis, where she had been evacuated for treatment following the alleged rape.
Mental health in Africa presents several challenges. Patients frequently consult both traditional therapists and psychiatrists. In Togo, a group by the name Heal by Hair project has identified a new method to help people with disability in the country. Hairdressers have been involved in the project and help conduct counseling to members of their communities on how to live along with people with mental disability. The Heal by Hair project aims to train hairdressers to become mental health fast responders. So the idea of going through the hairdresser is to find women who are there. We are going to find women and talk to them on confidential matters. The women are the hairdressers, and hairdressers who are invisible in society today because of their social status. Every day a hairdresser attends to an average of 7 women a day. They talk to them, they open their hearts to them. Yet these hairdressers are not really equipped today to provide counseling in the field of mental health. So the idea is to set up the first movement of female hairdressers who will help in mental health in Africa through their daily routine.
Voilà le premier mouvement de coiffeuse secouriste en santé mentale en Afrique à travers le programme Heal by Hair.
Heal by Hair offers a double opportunity. First, to raise awareness on the subject and link it up with intermediaries who already have the trust and proximity of users. Just as I was saying, since we have the possibility from the age of 3 to be trained in first aid, in safety and physical health, it is the same principle with the healing through this program. So it's to be able to equip hairdressers, to be able to explain to them what mental health is, and also allow them to recognize the first signs. We will help them from the beginning of the care chain and, of course, to direct them to therapies for the more serious cases. On the African continent, mental illness, even if they are still rampant, are still little known and widely stigmatized. According to WHO, Africa has less than 1 mental health specialist per million people. More response are therefore needed to tackle this. We will set up a training course, we will evaluate them, we will take into account the feedback from the hairdressers, and all women will be sensitized. We will improve this project and continue to construct it further for better results. Above all, we need everyone. We have 66 million women today who suffer from depression and anxiety in Africa. According to a study, hairdressers whom women trust, if trained, offer palliative first aid solutions.
Malian player Moussa Marega scored the winning goal for Saudi Arabia's Hilal in the Asian Champions League final. Hilal swept past South Korea's Pohang Steelers 2-0 to win the continental title for a record 4th time. The match started well for the Saudi team. Nasser Al-Dassari made history, scoring the fastest goal in the competition barely 16 seconds after the start of the match. The team, coached by Portuguese manager Leonardo Jardim, becomes the most successful in Asia with 4 Champions League titles. In January, Saudi Arabia will compete in the World Club Championship, alongside European champions Chelsea and African champions Al Ahly.
In once a desert landscape, the Simiri Plateau in Niger is now a small paradise for flora and fauna. An African Union's Great Green Wall project has been initiated in the area and aims to restore 100 million hectares of dry land by 2030 along an 8,000-kilometer strip stretching from Senegal in the west to Djibouti in the east. It was a lunar landscape colonized by stones with the wax, and even before the trees grew, we had actually seen the benefit of the civil engineering works, and this had slowed down the erosion towards our fields and filled in gullies which threatened the houses around this area. Niger's southern forests have lost 1/3 of their surface area and now makes up only 1 to 2% of the country, according to the United Nations Environment Programme. The very first activity was really the creation of structures for catching runoff water, the benches, and then the silvopastoral half-moons. So here we have about 20 hectares that have been recovered and then planted. By 2030, Niger aims to green 3.6 million hectares of land, which represents more than 37.5% of its territory. To achieve this dream, the country needs more than $780 million. Insecurity in Sahel countries weighs a lot, not only in terms of cost, but also in terms of accessibility to be able to carry out projects. So for the moment, our actions are really concentrated in the areas where we can access. But there are many areas that need this support, but we cannot access because of this insecurity. In addition to halting desertification, the Great Green Wall also focuses on access to water, solar energy, and social-economic development, including market gardening, fish farming, and cattle rearing.
South Africa's universities are buried in debt. The Minister of Higher Education, Bladen Nzimande, revealed that universities are owed more than $700 million in fees due between 2010 and 2020, with historically disadvantaged institutions bearing the brunt of the costs.
So there is a need for a national solution to this issue. And it's not a solution that's going to be found by the universities. It's a solution that will really have to come from a partnership between government and so on. And I think that one of the challenges we face is to try and ensure that this doesn't become an impediment for young people who fall outside of that National Student Financial Aid Scheme category, an impediment for them to study. Because very often, they are most at risk. And we need to find a solution to addressing that issue. Yeah.
The minister said more than 100,000 degrees or certificates were withheld because of lack of payment over the period.
2 years ago, government released like 960 million towards student debt. But however, the flaws of this money is that it is directed to NSFAS students only. And then we have still missing middle students who are not accommodated in this clearing of student debts. Number 2, this money only applies for students who are currently registered at that time. And then it means those students who are at home graduated, but they can't get their degrees because they are owing fees in the university, and therefore they can't work. So we'd like to say the government should more intervene on this historical debts of students.
South Africa's education experts say it is quite clear that a new approach to tertiary funding needs to be implemented. On the other hand, students are calling for free education. Wandi Swantengendo, Johannesburg, South Africa, Africa News.